Everything has a new dimension now. The professional colleges also have almost reopened. And the time is that of strikes too. Now the roads and lanes are filled with agitating students and employees. Welcome once again to News Analysis. News Analysis, a weekly magazine on current affairs. To begin with the main points in a nutshell. Obama will speed pullout from war in Afghanistan. Syria's ailing economy poses threat to Assad. Seized phone offers clues to bin Laden's Pakistani links. Rwanda ex-women's minister guilty of genocide rape. Girl 9 strapped with bomb says the Taliban made her do it. Super sand to help clean up dirty drinking water. And now the news in detail. Obama will speed pullout from war in Afghanistan. President Obama declared Wednesday that the United States had largely achieved its goals in Afghanistan, setting in motion a substantial withdrawal of American troops in an acknowledgement of the shifting threat in the region and the fast-changing political and economic landscape in a war-weary America. Asserting that the country that served as a base for the September 11, 2001 attacks no longer represented a terrorist threat to the United States, Mr. Obama declared that the tide of war is receding. And in a blunt recognition of domestic economic strains, he said America is time to focus on nation building here at home. Mr. Obama announced plans to withdraw 10,000 troops from Afghanistan by the end of this year. The remaining 20,000 troops from the 2009 surge of forces leave by next summer, amounting to about a third of the 1 lakh troops now in the country. He said the drawdown would continue at a steady pace until the United States handed over security to the Afghanistan authorities in 2014. The troop reductions, which were decided after a short but fierce internal debate, will be both deeper and faster than the recommendations made by Mr. Obama's military commanders, and they will come as the president faces relentless budget pressures, an increasingly restive American public, and a re-election campaign next year. Only hours after Mr. Obama spoke, President Nicolas Sarkozy of France said on Thursday that he would also begin drawing down the 4,000-strong French contingent in Afghanistan. Given the progress we have seen, France will begin a gradual withdrawal of reinforcement troops sent to Afghanistan in a proportional manner and in a calendar comparable with the withdrawal of American reinforcements, Mr. Sarkozy said in a statement issued by his office, Reuters reported.
We're starting this drawdown from a position of strength. Al-Qaeda is under more pressure than at any time since 9/11. Together with the Pakistanis, we have taken out more than half of Al-Qaeda's leadership. And thanks to our intelligence professionals and special forces, we killed Osama bin Laden, the only leader that Al-Qaeda had ever known.
Syria's ailing economy poses threat to Assad. Hotels that cater to sandal-wearing backpackers in the storied Syrian city of Aleppo stand empty. Capital from the Persian Gulf that underpins Syrian ambitions of modernization has begun to dry up. The Syrian pound has faltered, exports have fallen, and government has promised respite with money it will not have for long. In his first address to Syrians in 2 months, President Bashar al-Assad warned this week of the collapse of Syrian economy. The words might have been hyperbole, aimed at rallying support for a leadership staggering from a 3-month uprising. But the sentiments underlined the danger that the economy there poses for a government that long promised its people better lives, even as it refused to surrender any real political power. As the crisis deepens, Syrians face the prospect of achieving neither. We as businessmen want a solution and we can't wait forever, said Mohammed Zion, a garment dealer in Aleppo. The president should find a way out of this crisis or he should leave it to others. We need a solution, whatever that solution might be. For much of the world, Syria's revolt has been viewed through its politics as a reaction to the ferocious crackdown deployed by one of the region's most authoritarian governments. But an economy long hailed for its potential, through its stewards have been criticized for its mismanagement, has played no less a role in upheaval. Market reforms that cut subsidies on food and fuel over the past 7 years struck frustration, worsened by a devastating drought that began in 2006 and drove 1.5 million people from the countryside to cities without enough jobs. With economists predicting the conditions will worsen over the summer, the health of the economy also may determine how the unrest evolves. In that, it stands as a case study of the tumult across the Arab world, where political repression has intersected with economic frustration and more ambiguous sense of humiliation to unleash some of the greatest changes in the region in a generation. Even as analysts sympathetic to Mr. Assad acknowledge that this leadership has so far failed to offer a real plan to redress any of those grievances, other than the one against the alternative to having him in control. 3 months into this crisis, the regime is not getting its act together on any front, even the economy, despite the fact that the regime's basis of support relies on that same economy, said an analyst in Syria who, like many other interviewed, spoke on condition of anonymity because of a fear of retribution. The regime has no policy and no strategy at this point. Seized phone offers clues to bin Laden's Pakistani links. The cell phone of Osama bin Laden, trusted courier, which was recovered in the raid that killed both men in Pakistan last month, contained contacts to militant groups that is a long-time asset of Pakistan's intelligence agency. Senior American officials who have been briefed on these findings say. The discovery indicates that bin Laden used the group Harkatul Mujahideen as part of his support network inside the country, the officials and others said. But it also raised tantalizing questions about whether the group and others like it helped shelter and support bin Laden on behalf of Pakistan's spy agency, given that it had mentored Harkat and allowed it to operate in Pakistan for at least 20 years, the officials and analysts said. In tracing the calls on cell phone, American analysts have determined that Harkat commanders had called Pakistani intelligence officials, the senior American officials said. One said they had met. The officials added that the contacts were not necessary about bin Laden and his protection, and that there was no smoking gun, showing that Pakistan's spy agency had protected bin Laden. But the cell phone numbers provide one of the most intriguing leads yet in hunt for the answer to an urgent and vexing question of Washington. How was it that bin Laden was able to live comfortably for years in Abbottabad, a town dominated by Pakistani military and only 3-hour drive from Islamabad, the capital? It's a serious lead, said one American official who has been briefed in broad terms on the cell phone analysis. It's an avenue we are investigating. The revelation also provides a potentially critical piece of puzzle about bin Laden's secret odyssey after he slipped away from American forces in the Tora Bora region of Afghanistan nearly 10 years ago. It may help answer how and why bin Laden or his protectors choose Abbottabad, where he was killed in a raid by Navy SEALs team on May 2nd. Harkat has especially deep roots in the area, around Abbottabad, and the network provided by the group would have enhanced bin Laden's ability to live and function in Pakistan, analysts familiar with the group said. Its leaders have a strong ties with both Al-Qaeda and Pakistani intelligence, and they can roam widely because they are Pakistanis, something the foreigners who make up Al-Qaeda ranks cannot do. Even today, the group's leader, Maulana Fazlur Rahman Khalil, long one of bin Laden's closest Pakistani associates, lives unbothered of the Pakistani authorities on the outskirts of Islamabad. The senior American official did not name the commanders whose numbers were in the courier's cell phone, but said that the militants were in South Waziristan, where Al-Qaeda and other groups had been based for years. Harkat's network would have allowed bin Laden to pass on instructions to Qaeda members there and in other parts of Pakistan's tribal areas to deliver messages and money, or even to take care of personal matters, analysts and officials said. Rwanda ex-women's minister guilty of genocide, rape. A former Rwandan women's minister has been sentenced to life in prison for her role in genocide and the rape of Tutsi women and girls. Pauline Nyiramashuko, 65, is the first woman convicted by the UN-backed tribunal for the Rwanda genocide. She was found guilty along with her son and 4 other former officials after a 10-year trial. Some 8 lakh ethnic Tutsis and moderate Hutus were killed during the 1994 massacres. Nyiramashuko, who was Family Affairs and Women's Development Minister, was accused of ordering and assisting in the massacres in her home district of Butare in southern Rwanda. The prosecution at the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda, ICTR, accused her of taking part in the government decision to create militias throughout the country. Their mission was to wipe out Tutsi population as fast as possible. She has been convicted for genocide and crimes against humanity, including extermination, rape and persecution. ICTR spokesman Danford Mpuilwa told Reuters news agency by telephone from the court.